Box office numbers for the Independence Day holiday are out, and oh boy, some very interesting accounting that we're finding here. So, just as the way the Deadline reports this, Sound of Freedom. Sound of Freedom is an independent film starring Jim Caviezel. You might remember him in such films as Passion of the Christ from way back in the cut. He's kind of a religious conservative fellow who just, goes out there and does these little indie projects, and apparently this one's doing exceptionally good. How good? Well, kind of depending on the outlet. And Indiana Jones, which is another little indie project that, no, of course, its funding might dissuade you from believing that it's independent, but its acting and its writing, well, maybe, it kind of fits in that category, maybe student film. But duke it out on July 4th. Can Insidious, Red Door, upset #1 next week? I don't really care about the rest of that stuff, to be completely honest, okay? Even though, because I had to take a look, because I'm trying to get my references straight when it comes to what's coming out next week, and it's going to be very interesting, because here I was thinking, it's like at least Barbie or something was going to be coming out, and boy, just a languishing summer release schedule when it comes to big tentpole films, just everything kind of bunching together, a little bit weird, right? Oppenheimer, not supposed to come out until the 21st, so that comes out the week after Mission Impossible. Barbie comes out that week too, so it's like, okay, one for the guys, one for the girls. See, that at least kind of makes sense if the parents want to go and take their kids to a movie. I don't even know if that's still a thing at this point in time. Are there enough families, nuclear families that are together that, they could actually have like a happy weekend together? You could send the kids off to that, that might be fun or something like that. Seems rather apolitical, unless you're to believe the babblings of Kate Dumbass McKinnon, but it all seems fine so far, at least from the words that we've heard from the actual stars associated with it, and, not just that little bit of scum that was left on the pan that was, Ghostbusters 2016, but Mission Impossible is going to absolutely dog walk Indiana Jones when we eventually get there, but seems like open sailing this week. It looks like maybe everybody else was trying to stagger their releases, thinking that it wasn't going to be as bad as it is, but I bet you some folks, probably chiefly among them Mission Impossible, are like, oh man, we could have just taken that easy layup and completely wrecked Lucasfilm, but it looks like they're more than capable of doing it themselves. So let's take a look at what we have right here. We'll read the previous before we get to the update, okay? Because what were the initial reports when they first came down with this? Angel Studios' Jim Caviezel thriller Sound of Freedom came on strong Tuesday and gave Disney, Lucasfilm's Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Derpstiny a run for its money at the domestic box office. We're speaking specifically for July 4th. Nothing else, okay? However, it's until actuals are reported, which they were waiting a long-ass time in order to come out, which is why they had to update this. They had to put the article out for print, but they didn't have the official numbers yet because Lucasfilm and Disney are like, oh god, this is such an embarrassing. Can anybody find some money out there? However, until actuals are reported, it remains to be seen who won July 4th. Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like the way that the Democrats like to run box offices. I just see what the actual count is on the other project, and we'll just magically come in, just outside the margins of fraud. And hey, look at that. We won. With both distributors reporting $11.5 million. But hey, look at that update. Disney, Lucasfilm, Indiana Jones, and the Dial of Destiny officially wins Tuesday with just about $11.7 million, just over the $11.5 million of a fucking independent movie, for Christ's sakes. Holy shit, man. You guys are barely beating a fucking B movie with one of the tentpole franchises in all of Hollywood, at least at one point in time. But then again, if you run back the numbers, and this is from Box Office Mojo, so it's, I guess, owned by Amazon, so they don't necessarily... It kind of depends, though, because if Disney or Lucasfilm continues on their, current trajectory, maybe Amazon would be more inclined to buy up Disney, but even still, a disinterested third party, it looks like Indiana Jones came in comfortably second, and Sound of Freedom was the winner in just about half the theaters, averaging more than half again as much as the theaters. It's like, brother, this film is a fucking disaster. Holy shit, man. And it's so bad that even mass media, okay, the trade rags that are out there, they can't even cover this shit up. It's like flop after flop after flop after flop. You can track it probably all the way back. I think the one to really start to flick the first domino and then the subsequent collapses in the aftermath, It's probably Lightyear, which is also something I reported on at the time, and it was just kind of that death knell, that final nail in Chris Evans' coffin. It's like, brother, you do Captain America real good, but you ain't no movie star, kid. You ain't Robert Downey Jr. You ain't Chris Pratt. Fuck, you're not even Chris Hemsworth. You're a fucking dork with a star on your chest. Look forward to seeing you again back when Secret Wars eventually comes out in 2040 or whatever the fuck that current Disney schedule is. Disney's harsh new reality. Costly film flops. All of them right there. The most successful one, probably by the time that everything is all said and done, is fucking Ant-Man. And if anybody actually seen that shit, y'all remember anything about that? Outside of MODOK's creepy motherfucking face. Does anybody remember anything about that? No? I didn't think so. Creative struggles and shrinking global box office. Yeah, because everybody else has alternatives that's out there. They don't have to come back to Disney. There was a point in time where you would see the little castle pop up in the blue background before they went to that, hyper-realistic fucking CGI monstrosity that they'd put out before any of their films. I think the first time that I see it was probably one of the first films that I had that crying Wojak, but I had the, mask over my face where it's like, I don't like this film, but I think it's fine because I like the franchise. It was the third Pirates of the Caribbean film. When I walked out of that theater, went to the midnight fucking screening, back when they used to do that shit, I just left and it's like, that wasn't very good. But I like the Pirates films. That wasn't very good. Subsequent watchings, I've kind of warmed up to it a little bit, but you could just take all of that stupid Chinese pirate shit completely out. Elizabeth Swann's entire contribution to that third film is superfluous at best, but detrimental at worst. And don't even get me started on the fourth Pirates film, that fucking piece of shit. Anyways, for the past decade, Disney has been the Teflon movie studio. Yeah, they could just go ahead and roll out any fucking tripe, and it has, that logo in front of everything. And the parents, or even the people, hey man, just watching some of the more, mature content that they were putting out there, it would just trigger like a Pavlovian response. I remember growing up on Disney films. It can't be that bad. Ooh, that wasn't very good. But the next one will be fine, right? It's that selective amnesia, where if you just look at different news sources and you just recognize an article, you see a story, you watch a video and it's like, I don't agree with that at all. But then you just watch the next one. It's like, oh no, that's fine. I guess it's just that one instance. But then when you start to do this stuff on a long enough time frame, as somebody who covers the news, covers current events on a daily basis, hey man, I've been hip to this stuff for a long time. And over the past 3 years that I've been doing this stuff, it's just become more rapid and easily recognizable. But now, because there's just so much slop that's being put out by these movie studios, I think everybody's finally catching up. And yes, the straw that broke the old ass camel's back, might very well end up being Indy 5. Who knew? Everybody thought that was a film that didn't need to be made, but in the sense of reviving entertainment, maybe it's the most necessary film ever. Maybe I've reversed my stance on this. Indiana 5 definitely needed to be made in order for success to be achieved into the future. For the past decade, Disney has been the Teflon movie studio, remarkably adept at withstanding the tectonic changes impacting the film industry. Oh, was this an article written by somebody who got a bright, shiny new thesaurus? How adorable. And well fortified by its arsenal of key properties such as Marvel, LucasFilm, and Pixar, all well represented there with its most recent releases, with Marvel, with Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Insufferable Communists, and in Quantumania, Indy 5, obviously, and then monumental. This year, the long-reigning titan of the box office has shown cracks, as 4 of the biggest releases from those brands and others have struggled in theaters. And oh wait, there's more before the end of the year. Not for Lucasfilm, which, if you guys don't know, Indiana 5 is the first official Lucasfilm project that had a cinematic release since Star Wars 9, Rise of Skywalker in 2019. 4 years. 4 goddamn years. That's how detrimental Star Wars was to ruining Lucasfilm. That fucking sequel trilogy, holy shit. Never seen it, won't see it. Listen to a whole bunch of reviews as to how it's just a cataclysmic disaster. How do you go from making $2 billion with all of that anticipation back in 2015 with The Force Awakens to barely scraping out $1.1 billion at the end of the sequel trilogy? Fucking proper Star Wars films. You guys suck. And now you're not even going to get a third of that shit back for Indiana Jones. I digress. There was a dispiriting release of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, a rare Marvel movie to likely lose tens of millions of dollars in its theatrical run. The first of many, because the Marvels comes out in November. Hey, just a little bit, a couple of feelers to throw out there for a second. There are 3 strong, empowered female protagonists that are going to be helming that project right there. Can you guys name all 3 of them that are up there? I'll give you Captain Marvel. Who are the other 2 that are up there? That's going to be Disney's just Hail Mary at the end of the year. Please, God, make some money. Oh, wait. Nope. Fantastic. Brie Larson just tripped over a size 15 feet on the way to go catch that ball. Sucks to suck, I guess. A rare Marvel movie. Yes, likely to lose tens of millions of dollars. All right, Little Mermaid. Fuck, that was such a disaster. Is that one even going to crack $500 million? A remake of the 1989 animated classic, which, yeah, no, I watched. I think it was, if you guys remember, okay, growing up, I'm born in 1990, so we had the VHS tapes, you know, the white clamshell cases, you know, all the Disney films, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, Aladdin, well, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. I think we had Cinderella. There were a couple of staples that we were missing, but most of the Renaissance ones, we had Hercules. Shout out to that. Can't wait for the Disney live-action remake of Hercules when they try to do the Jada Pinkett Smith Cleopatra reimagining with Hercules. This is going to be funny as fuck, but yeah, man, The Little Mermaid, and did that one have a TV show? No, but it definitely had some spin-offs as well. They were fine. They were good. The original is a classic, justifiably so. Probably, that could be contentious, but I think probably of the Renaissance, that might have the most iconic soundtrack. I think so. I'd be willing to stake it, even though I haven't given it much thought. But yes, that also fell drastically short of expectation. Elemental, which I don't even know, is that even playing in theaters yet? We can go back to the box office. How many places is it at right now? Oh, Little Mermaid finished with $1 million. Fucking gross, man. That sucks a lot of dick. Oh, it ended up falling in, 3rd place yesterday with $2.7 million. Its domestic box office, $95 million. Fantastic shit. Brother, what a loss. I'm sure it's all racism, right? Just don't tell that to the people that would turn out for Into the Spider-Verse. Anywho, but yes, Elemental, unoriginal, uninspired story, if we're going to go ahead and be completely honest about that, because yeah, Pixar films, they had that charm to them. Even though I wasn't a big fan of Cars, you could understand why that one was popular. Toy Story goes without saying. Monsters, Inc., same thing. Elemental, you look at those characters and it's like, God, they're just, I don't know, just uninspired. None of the marketing, the way that it was pushed, it's like it's such a visual treat. In today's day and age where everybody just sees schlocky CGI and what you're promising is, oh, don't worry guys, this time it's going to be good CGI. They're going to pass on that. If all you have is your visuals in order to sell your original IP, you better be as big and bombastic as Avatar or go back to the drawing board and write some fucking characters. But yes, the tentpole here, most recently Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, nearly $30 million or $300 million. Sorry, you don't need to sell it short or anything like that. That catering doesn't pay for itself. Investment in one of cinema's most venerable franchises, which no longer appears to have the same hold on today's audiences. No, it just harkens back to your marketing. The way that Elemental flops is because it was just all visual all the time. Fantastic. You can see something just as impressive on a YouTube screen. What was the marketing behind Indiana Jones? Come and see what's left of Harrison Ford and this insufferable feminist. Good stuff. That's what would happen. And he ended up with a predictable outcome of people who were anticipating to go and see Indiana Jones, realizing that, he's kind of got that Joe Biden shuffle, and yeah, I want to see adventures. I don't want to hear feminist lectures that would seem out of time in 2016. I'm good, thanks. Barring a miracle, sudden surge of interest in all things Haunted Mansion. Yo, man. I remember Haunted Mansion when it was Eddie Murphy. And that was Disney trying to also make more movies about their theme park rides, and that one just going nowhere at the speed of smell. Guardians of the Galaxy 3 looks to be the studio's biggest earner of the year with $835 million. And guess what? No refunds on that one because James Gunn is going to be heading up the the DCU. Coming out in 2025. No, I got my seats just, earmarked when Superman eventually comes out. What's that going to be, like the 19th fucking Superman that we've seen on screen? Enough already. It's the first time since 2014, with the exception, of 2020 and 2021, you're trying to roll that shit in there? Okay, well, there was a $1 billion film in Spider-Man No Way Home, but oopsie daisy, that was Sony. That wasn't you guys. Anyways, that Disney won't have a movie that reaches $1 billion. It also marks a shift from 2022, which saw the studio release not only hits, underperformers like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. I implore you, check out Mahler's just about 6-hour long review on that. Good thing about YouTube is, okay, if you don't want to sit down for 6 hours, you can watch it in parts. Oh, it's too long. No, it's a fantastic piece of work. It's right up there with one of the best, I think it's one of the best pieces of content that's on YouTube. I can't highly recommend it enough. I've listened to it and watched it a few different times. It's fucking great. But also Avatar Way of the Water, the third highest grossing film in history, and it had to be in order to break even. Now, for everybody who went and seen that, do you remember anything about it? Yeah, exactly. There was a pregnant Avatar lady who fought, I guess. I don't know. Even if that is the case, Disney still far outranks the competition in terms of market share in 2023. Oh my god. Commanding 37% of the industry's revenues. Universal is close behind with 31%. And they still have their biggest tentpole with Mission Impossible. I think Paramount's under that Universal banner. I'm pretty sure. But ticket sales for the films has been have even been more earthbound, especially compared to last pre-COVID year. Yeah, so when Disney fielded a record 7 movies across the $1 billion mark in 2019. Not going to try to remember all of them, but there was the Lion King live-action remake. Oof. Did Avengers Infinity War come out at the beginning of the year, and then Endgame came out at the end of the year? Or was it... Oh, no, because, yeah, Captain Marvel was in there as well. And all of those made bank, and then... Oh, yeah, right at the end of the year. No, I think Endgame came out during the summer. And then, yeah, you had, stupid Star Wars at the end of the year. That was the December release for Disney. Okay. In many cases, reviews for recent releases haven't been standout. Yeah, the critics particularly scathing about Quantumania and openly questioning the need for the 5th Indiana Jones adventure. Audiences have been kinder, giving those movies respectable Rotten Tomatoes and cinema scores. But if you listen to the people reviewing and talking about that stuff like the day after they go and watch it, they just go, yeah, no, that was fine. Might watch it, maybe if it's on streaming later, I might watch it, but not looking forward to any more of it. It was just a thing that I did for a few hours. There are other issues bedeviling the Magic Kingdom this day. Oh, let's just listen to all the cope here. Because of its all tentpole, all the time strategy, because they were putting out things that were popular, weird cope, Disney's movies each require production budgets of at least $200 million. Fucking nope. They just ballooned to that level. Plus marketing costs of roughly $100 million on top of the announced budget, so you don't know necessarily for sure. Like it says for Indiana Jones, it's like $300 million is the budget, and then how much money additionally on top of that for marketing, which is just really producing great returns for them. It means the studio's films have a higher benchmark than its rivals to break even at the box office. That's been the exact same thing ever since those films, especially the Marvel Cinematic Universe ones, really started to take off and started to produce gigantic returns. Once Disney fully got their hooks into them, they started to balloon the budgets. You take a look and you get the breakdowns of what everybody's actually spending for shit on set. There's so much bloat in those budgets. There's no need for them to be $200 million. Fucking people are creaming their jeans over the part 2 of Dune. That shit costs it's either 120 or 140 million dollars, and that's going to be another 2.5+ hour epic. But no, man, you know why Disney films cost so much? It's because they don't have a solid script when they go into production. Just because it worked with Iron Man way back in the cut with a very talented cast doesn't mean that you can do that again for every other dog shit production that you put out there. If you have a script, if you have a purpose behind what you're doing, you wouldn't have to come back and do reshoot after script rewrite, after hiring and firing actors. Have a fucking purpose behind your shit. Anything Disney threw out in 2019 made $1 billion, says Jeff Bach. Made $1 billion. Did I say million? Anyways, says Jeff Bach, an analyst with exhibitor relations. Now it's more difficult than ever to release a film worldwide. Is it really? Things really haven't changed all that much. The international landscape has changed. Really? It's not close to back. Oh no, it very much is. Just for the products that are apolitical and relatable. Imagine that. There have been $5 billion movies, likely to have another one added in a couple weeks' time. What do they all have in common? It really gets the old noggin jogging, huh? The problem is getting those costs under control will take time. No, not really. Major movies take at least 3 to 4 years to develop. But yeah, if you listen to the way that the scripts were created for Black Widow and for Multiverse of Madness, it was basically over a weekend. I'm being a bit hyperbolic, but not really. Even if Disney is serious about tightening its belt, it may not make a noticeable difference until 2026 or beyond. It takes a very long time for a big ship like Disney to change course. Yeah, because everything is still in development. Everything that's as bad as it is right now is still going to be churning out the asshole of Disney, expecting you to just go, see? We'll just put some sprinkles on it, see? And this is why. This is why it's important to call this stuff out right now and to remember what you did or didn't see. What the responses to this failure was or wasn't. Because yeah, if they're accurate about this, which seems to be about right, 2016 or 2026, Jesus Christ, I'm going to be closer to death than anything else by that point in time. But if you just continue to stand your ground and hold those big businesses like Disney, LucasFilm, Marvel, all of that, everything under that umbrella, you hold them accountable for putting out unrelatable, unlikable, unprofitable films, they will eventually change course. And if they don't learn that lesson, they'll have to start selling off studios to companies that did learn that lesson. So with all that said, thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.